Good morning. It's Tuesday, October 5th. This morning I'm going to talk about the Supreme Court and the upcoming session in the Supreme Court. This has nothing to do with Sotomayor's blocking of the New York teachers' request to stop the school mask mandate that was put upon them by, I guess, the Board of Education or whatever it was. This has to do with the fact that the Supreme Court will finally be together in the courtroom after 18 months of sort of, I guess, Zooming or, some kind of communication like that. And this is going to be a very interesting season in the court because there are several high-level conservative issues that are coming before the court in this term. There are many who have observed the Supreme Court for years and believe that this is going to be an extremely radical conservative takeover session in the Supreme Court. You all know that Roe versus Wade is under attack, and so the issues associated with abortion will certainly be on the docket. And the case involves the law that was written in Mississippi that stops abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. That seems to be much more liberal than the Texas law that they looked away from. But that'll be one of the cases that the Supreme Court will be talking. They'll also be talking about gun rights. And the case involves New York State not giving licenses to guns for people unless there was a special need. And so I believe that the court is looking at this to say that there doesn't have to be a special need since the Constitution says that one can bear arms, so to speak. And then there's another case which involves religion. And in this country, we have always abided by the rule of the separation of church and state when it came to funding. But now they have a case in Maine where the state refuses to fund religious schools, not religious organizations, religious schools. Because in Maine they have a lot of small towns, and many small towns don't have enough population to have a public school. So what they do is they pay for education in some private institution for the kids that live in those towns. But they will not pay for education if the private school has a religious affiliation. So now they are suing in the state of Maine, get Maine to pay the religious schools to educate their children. And so that's, clearly a violation of what we have been used to in this country, the separation of church and state. So what we have now is a Supreme Court that is extremely conservative. And they are going to take positions on abortions and religious groups and guns. And the general public is not happy with that. This is the first Supreme Court that has a lower approval rating than the President of the United States. It's 40% or less. And that's because the court is now being viewed as a political entity, not as a bipartisan group of intelligent people prepared to look at the laws in this country without any partisan affiliation. That is not what this Supreme Court looks like to the general public. And you can see by the selection of the cases that they have elected to take up this year that this is a court with a conservative agenda. Well, we know there are 6 conservatives on the court. And we'll have to see how these rulings come out over the course of the year. as to whether or not there's really going to be any action taken on the makeup of the court. I don't believe that they should change the makeup of the court, but that's beyond my power, so to speak. But in the past, the court has ducked many massive social issues because it didn't have enough conservative votes to take those issues on. But now, with 6 conservatives on the court's focus has changed. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think it's been politicized, far too politicized. So this is going to be a very interesting year in the Supreme Court. As you can see, the issues that they have carefully selected fit right into the strength of the conservative supermajority in the court. They could change life in the United States, overturning 50 years of abortion rights, adding some changes to gun laws that will allow people to get guns when their lives are not in jeopardy, overturning the state's right to manage certain rules. You know, states' rights have been a big problem in this country if we take a look at the pandemic and what went on there. So I don't know what's going to happen. But there are many in this country who are afraid of this Supreme Court. And we'll have to wait and see if their fear is correct. And right now I would have to agree with these people because of decisions that have been made with respect to voting rights and guns and abortion and religion and affirmative action. And the court has leaned right on every one of these major decisions. So I don't see this court changing its thinking in the near term or the far term. And that's a terrible thing. When the politicians end up controlling the court, it's a terrible thing. We've survived 250 years without a situation that has gotten this bad. And this is just one more indication of the direction in which this country is going. And so I leave you with that thought, and I'll see you in the morning.